Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back, everyone, and make sure you give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, you know the rule. Subscribe, as there is no financial gain to me for you subscribing to the channel. Now, in this afternoon's version of the Celtic news, the big news today is it looks like Johnny Hayes will be returning back to Celtic. This will come about after just 2 hours ago from the time of this video being recorded. Aberdeen put out a statement on Twitter that's now called X, saying Johnny Hayes. Thanks for the memories. Hashtag stand free. A Dawn career to be proud of. Hashtag stand free again. It's an interesting one for Johnny Hayes because he is a bit of a Celtic legend in his own right. He did only stay at Celtic for 3 years. We'll talk about his Celtic career in a minute and why he's coming back to Celtic. And I think it's an absolutely fantastic move by Celtic. The fact that they've got Darren O'Dea in position already, getting a guy like Johnny Hayes in at Celtic at the level that he's going at is going to be fantastic. And it is a statement of intent by the club, finally. Anyway, Johnny Hayes' career at Aberdeen, we'll give a nod to the Dons, the Sheepshaggers, for his little career at Aberdeen. He debuted against Celtic back in 2012, a long time ago. He had 352 appearances for the Dons. He had 38 goals. He had 52 European appearances for Aberdeen, which is quite a lot. I mean, as Celtic fans, we kind of just focus on ourselves, but when you see the amount of European appearances that Johnny Hayes had for Aberdeen, it's fair play to Aberdeen over the years. I mean, they're still getting their shots in Europe. And he's ninth overall in terms of European appearances for Aberdeen. And he was a League Cup winner in 2014. We thank you, Johnny. We can confirm that Johnny Hayes has called time on his Dons career. Thank you, Johnny. Which means for one thing and one thing only. It means one thing and one thing only. Johnny Hayes will be on the Celtic staff just shortly. Yes, he will be joining Celtic. It said that he's left Aberdeen to pursue other coaching opportunities at a professional level elsewhere. And that report, there's a lot of people saying, and he's been linked with the job at Celtic, coaching role at Celtic with the youth level set up. It's a funny old career that he's had when you look at Johnny Hayes' career. When you go right back, because he started a long time ago in football. Jonathan Hayes was born on the 9th of July, 1987. Jesus, I was leaving school a year later. The Irish professional football player and winger who had a fantastic career. His early career was at Leicester City. He joined them on the 6th of July 2007. He went to Northampton Town on loan, and then he went to Inverness Caledonian Thistle, where he kind of came more fruition as a professional player. He left Inverness after the 11-12 season, and he rejected a new one-year contract by Inverness, and then he went to Aberdeen. It's claimed he'd struck a deal with Aberdeen, and he obviously went to Aberdeen. He did go to Aberdeen, but then he left Aberdeen to come to Celtic during the glory years. Yes, the glory years under Brendan Rodgers. The first, can we call them glory years? And it was part of the road to 9 in a row. So he was part of the team that took us to 9 in a row. He obviously joined Celtic in 2017, had the 2017-2018 season. He also had 2018-2019 and the 2019-2020 season at Celtic, when Celtic done the whole 9 in a row. Even though it was what it was. Yes, he did leave Celtic and he went back to Aberdeen on a freedom of contract. And from 2020-2021 season, he's played at Aberdeen for a good few years. And then he's also been involved in coaching at Aberdeen in the backroom staff when they've sacked a manager. He's been on the bench a few times, but he's also been doing the youth level. And that's what he'll be coming to do at Celtic. When you look at it, personally, I think it's an absolutely fantastic addition to getting someone of Johnny Hayes' experience, and he knows he knew how to get to goal from the wing, Johnny Hayes, and that's one thing that he did know. He wasn't one of our most prolific wingers that we've ever had at Celtic. His game time will tell you that exactly, but it's a guy that Brendan knows and trusts. And there's a thing in this business and football when it comes to people that you want to work with, you need to know, like, and trust them. And Brendan Rodgers, it ticks all those boxes for what Brendan is trying to build at Celtic this time round. Brendan knows that we need to bring more through the youth system. He knows that putting Darren O'Dea helped make sure that it was Darren O'Dea got that job for pathway manager. Having Johnny Hayes as under 18s manager, make sure that the younger talent can come through and into the sort of the B team setup. Make sure that they're going to be, they know what they're going to expect. And as a young player, you want to learn from players and people that have been there and done it at the highest level. And Johnny Hayes has done that. And for that alone, I think Celtic are finally putting things in place where, and maybe not in the next 2 or 3 seasons, but the next 3 or 4 seasons, I think Celtic should be looking for a return on the investment for the facility they're building along the road at a cost of 20 million. And I think it'll be great to have all those young players in there training and seeing what it's like, knowing they're at a big club, knowing they're at a European big club, knowing that they are at one of the top clubs when it comes to European facilities. And I won't say on the pitch because we all know the story of that. But anyway, I think it is a fantastic situation that Johnny Hayes finds himself in. I think that he's now left Aberdeen. I think it's just a case of once everyone's back off holiday from Celtic, there'll be a few announcements to be made over the next couple of days. And I think one of those will be obviously that Johnny Hayes will be joining Celtic. And Paulo Bernardo also. There's a lot of rumours coming out of Portugal just now that Paulo Bernardo will be joining Celtic on a full-time basis. And Celtic have got their way. Yes. Jesus, I don't know how they do it, but Celtic have seemingly got their way on that reduced amount of money that they were going to pay. Anyway, talking about pay, there's an article that I seen this afternoon, and it talks about Celtic players, and it allegedly gives away the wages that our so-called high players are on. And it's no wonder, right? Well, we're talking about the poll that's still on the channel, and if you haven't seen the poll, go and have a look at it because it's on the community tab. We've had 1,400 votes. It's went up about 300 since this morning. And breaking news, Celtic fans, breaking news. If you go to the community tab post, Martin O'Neill's are way out in front. And I'm going to say, because there's been a lot of people who say, where's Neil Lennon? These managers that are on this poll came to Celtic with big reputations. Martin O'Neill had a big reputation down in England. Gordon Strachan had a big reputation down in England. Brendan Rodgers had managed Liverpool. He had a big reputation down in England. Ange Postecoglou had a big reputation in Australia and over that end of the world. That's why these 4 managers were picked for the poll. The people are saying, oh, Lenny should be in there. He's better than them all. He came from within Celtic. These are managers in recent times, since 2000, that have came to Celtic with a big reputation. And it was a case of who was the better manager in recent times. In your opinion, we all allowed our own opinion. Martin O'Neill still on 60%, Gordon Strachan's on 6%, and Brendan Rodgers currently on 17%, and Ange Postecoglou is also on 17%. Interesting considering Strachan is one of the managers that got us further in Europe than the other 2 that are named. And people will say, look, Lenny got us there also, but Lenny didn't come with a big managerial experience and, you know, the big name and lights type thing anyway. And people will say, but Ange didn't. Well, if you go over to Australia and try and say that, they'll tell you something different. Anyway, that's in the poll. Let's get back to this article about the Celtic players' wages. Now, the reason I got talking about Martin O'Neill and everything is Martin O'Neill signed players for around about 5, 6, 7 million at the time. We could compete with wages of clubs in England. Yes, we could complete 25 grand a week, roughly what you're getting paid down in England. Celtic were managed to pay that. Odin Ohm at Celtic is on £4,800 a week, reportedly. £4,800 a week. Not bad, you'll say, considering he's not kicked the ball for Celtic in anger. 21-year-old, what are you going to do with 4 grand a week? You know, that's a lot of money a month. And fair play to him for getting that. For me, he's 21-year-old. Why do we shortchange our own players from the youth system and try and get them for absolute peanuts? Get our young players on the same wages as these foreign guys that are coming into the club, Celtic. Do the right thing. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, Liam Scales, it's reported that Scales is only on $5,000 a week. You're going to say $5,000 a week? That's 20 grand a month. A lot of people on this channel probably don't get 20 grand a month. Yang, he's on $6,000 a week. Yang's on $6,000 a week. Who gave him $6,000 a week? Anyway, Lewis Palma is also on $6,000 a week. You're probably saying that that's probably a decent wage for Louis Palma. Next up was Scott Bain. Is on seven. Jesus Christ. Fuck me, I need a job like this. Scott Bain's on £7,600 a week. £7,600 a week to fucking do nada. Anyway, Tomoki Iwata is on 7,600. There seems to be a thing. This can't be right. They said it wouldn't put them all on the same wages. Mikey Johnston is on £7,900 a week. Mikey Johnson, there you go. £7,900 a week, allegedly. Yoki Kobayashi, come on, seriously? He's on £8,300 a week. Jesus, really? This is where we're going wrong, isn't it? Anyway, moving on. Stephen Welsh is on £8,600 a week, allegedly. Is on £9,000 a week. Who gave him that contract? Who gave the contract of £9,000 a week? Anyway, Big Rocky, he's on £12,000 a week. Okay. Matt O'Reilly is only on £14,000 a week. You know what's going to happen? We're going to lose him. That's ridiculous money. Celtic need to tie him down. If Celtic value him at 30 million, you would turn around and say, Matt, look, we value it at 30 million. We're going to offer you a new contract. I know you've just signed a new contract a year or so ago, but we want to give you a bigger wage contract. It's going to add another year on, but we want to give you that bigger wages because that's how we feel about you as a player. But no, Celtic have got Matt O'Reilly on £14,000 a week. Can Celtic hold on to him for £14,000 a week? Not a chance. Wait a minute. Now, we're going to get to one player that allegedly has still got one season left for the club. And he's on £14,000 a week. I thought he was gone this summer. But some twat decided to give him about a 4 or 5 year contract, didn't they? So James McCarthy is on £14,000 a week. But Gustav Lagerbielke is on £14,000 a week also. Interesting one. It's a good wage for him. And also Anthony Ralston's on £14,000 a week. Benji Siegrist, who has done nada for Celtic, third choice goalkeeper, he earns almost double that of Scott Bain. He's picking up £15,000 a week. That's right. Pick yourself back up the floor. Give yourself a shake. Benji Siegrist is on £15,000 a week, according to this article. Jesus, I've not even got any. And it's fucking zero sugar and caffeine free. What the fuck am I thinking? Jesus. Anyway, next up is Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor's on £15,000 a week. Fantastic wage for Greg Taylor. Next up, Rio Hatate. Rio Hatate's only on. This is where Celtic are going down. This is why we're not producing in European level, because we're not paying the wages to attract the big enough players to play at European level. Rio Hatate's only on £16,000 a week, reportedly. Unbelievable. Alistair Johnson's on £17,000 a week. Fair play to Alistair Johnson. The Vancouver-born right back is one of the most consistent players for Celtic since he came in January 2023. Next up is the one and only Dyson Myra. Yes, Dyson Myra. He is on a fantastic wage at Celtic also. Well, is he though? Is he? He's on £18,000 a week, reportedly, after agreeing that new deal last summer. It is reported that he's allegedly on £18,000 a week. Fantastic monthly wage. We've got to admit that because the guys will get paid monthly, but £18,000 a week. Jesus, give me some of that. Anyway, next up is the one and only James Forrest. James Forrest has won 23 trophies with Celtic during his time at Celtic. He's been at the club for over a decade, and he is reportedly on £19,000 a week. Next up is Kyogo. Kyogo is also on 19 grand a week. He signed that new deal last year also after strong links with Tottenham. But he's once again proved his worth this season. He's not scored as many as what he could have, but I'm sure he will be on fire next season. Now takes us into the realms of the kind of wages that we paid 20 odd years ago under Martin O'Neill. Yes, 24 grand a week is the one and only Cameron Carter-Vickers. Now you're saying, Jesus, only 24 grand a week. Somebody comes in for him and dangles the carrot at a 30, 40 grand a week down in England, and he's going to jump at it, isn't he? Celtic really need to make sure that if they value these players, we need to pay them pretty much what the going rate is, and not the going rate in Scottish football. You know, the going rate on a European. We need to. I just think we need to pay the players more. It's as simple as that. We seem to go through a period like we did under Gordon Strachan, and Gordon Strachan, he went through a period of having to downsize the wage bill. And it seems that Brendan Rodgers has had to do quite something similar. Anyway, the most expensive wage bill that we have is the man in the middle of the park. He is the most important player for us. He is now away with Scotland. And yes, he reportedly earns a wage of £37,000 a week. And that is the one and only Callum McGregor. You've got to remember, he's probably on that because he was there at the time where there was a lot of players on the road to 9 in a row that were getting paid the best part of £35,000+ a week. Callum McGregor could walk out this club tomorrow and walk down to England and he could double his money. He could go on 60 grand a week quite easily down in England. When you look at the wages that get thrown about down there, it is no wonder that we lose so many of our younger talent to England when you see that, well, if somebody like O's getting the money that he's on, it's absolutely terrible. And we try it and we just totally shaft the younger players that come in to Celtic through the youth system. Pay them the money that they're due. If they're going to be good enough, give them that and incite them, and make sure that they've got a way where they know if they produce the talent and if they win league medals, they're going to get increments of pay that increase. This fucking nonsense in football where you're on a 4-year contract and you're on 15 grand a week, but then the club values at fucking 30 million is absolutely nonsense in this day and age, as far as I'm concerned. Pay the players what they're worth, Celtic. As a business, you can afford it. Make sure that we build a team that is ready for European football. Paying players 12 grand a week is not going to give you European football success in any means of manner. Well, then again, you look at the club across the road. They had a bit of success in Europe and probably didn't pay as much as that. Anyway, tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you think about the one and only Johnny Hayes coming back to Celtic to coach at the under-18 level, I think it is. I'm not quite sure, but it is in the youth system at Celtic. So, Johnny Hayes comes back. Celtic wages have been leaked across one of the publications that are in and around Scotland. The sun is not shining today. I think we might have to do a live tonight. 8 p.m. Celtic part-time, mark it down. That is your afternoon supplement of your Celtic news from the One Celtic Fans View. On that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party.